everybody. It is 9/24, 2024. I'm on a roll. Spirit is just on fire, or I am. Either way, it's the same. Somebody would like to come in. I'm not sure who it is. We are opening the field a little bit. We're not going to go for just the stars that are past. We just did a missing person. I think that's really healing. If it can reach and solve the questions the families still have. But I don't know who's coming in, but they're making me smile. She's saying, my name is Joyce. And I'm hearing that clearly. I don't do names well, but Joyce is really hard to misunderstand. My name is Joyce, and for this moment, I rejoice. I was 32. She was 32 years old, woman, blonde. I disappeared from my shelter. Come again. My apartments. I was last seen walking from my apartments towards my car when I disappeared. She's saying, Andrea, we won't go to the area where I am for your difficulty just yet. My husband, who had become my ex-husband, sheltered me within the mines in the mines in the mountains. She's saying by the falls. Is your name Joyce? See, I am so terrible at names, guys. Let's just, never mind. We'll just keep going. Andrea, I fell upon the death due my ex-husband's hands around my throat. He choked my life from me. And for that, he failed to bury me. For his own safety of not being found to be the one that took me. She's saying, I aged wisely from the rising of her tomb, from the time that she separated from him. She had gained so much ground and became so much more wise. Wise to the ways in which she was the creator of her own life. She was very I was inspired, Andrea. She's saying, articulate in my wantings for me and for my future. She was dead set, goal aimed. She said, my goals were my target. And for me not taking my eyes off the target, I failed to see him behind me when he grabbed me. I never made it to my car. It was short for me to make it to his. It wasn't far at all that he had to get her in his vehicle and not be seen. she's saying her car was further than his, and for that she arrived in the mines. She's saying shafts in the mines, shaft in the mines, in the mines, shafts. That's hard to say. Go ahead, babe. I developed a wisdom. She's seeing wisdom. I'm sensing that a keen knowing of my shelters, of what keeps her safe. And she felt really strong in that. She felt that she was guarded, she was safe for her arrowing, like straight from her apartment to her car, from her car to wherever she was, to work, to school, what. She was so focused on getting from one point to another, straight shot, with the dangers that may lurk. I valued my keen senses. Only I valued my target beyond using my senses. He snuck up on her for her valuing that what she, her plan of target was perfect. She said I wasn't safe in any way. As he would turn out to show me that the validity in my knowing for my safety was as empty as the mine shaft in which he placed me. She's saying my car was red. I drove a small red car. She says that my car was small in the way that the year made it to be. So I'm seeing like I'm seeing a four-door like Nissan or some sort of little four-door sedan. More like boxy than rounded like it is today. Is that what you mean? She says gracias. So yes. She is not Hispanic. She just said gracias. She was in the land, she's saying the land of the creating of the cuisine of Spanish. So cooking. She was into cooking and learning recipes, and Spanish was her flavor of the week. She said, use the word week. She loved to cook. She said she loved the spices and the smells and the flavors. Cilantro, she loved. The greens, the green leafy spices, she says. Herbs and spices. I had gained so much ground, she says. In a million years, I had not expected to be found, meaning taken by him. And yet when I was found and bound, there was no surprise to my eyes. It was a downfalling from there. I let myself down. And then he let myself further down. My being missing the posters and the like I'm seeing the town crier, the callings of me are, they still remain, they're around. As if her body trying to be put underwater is buoyant. Her 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 case is to remain with air in it, buoyant. I will be found. What comes around goes around. She really resents him. What an evil bastard. Because he said that to her. What comes around goes around. And she's saying, you think you can treat me like a clown? She said he was so angry that I was done playing a part in his circus. Spinning round and round and round and round. She was tired of being a part of what was in his head, going round and round and round. And she felt so good, the straight line from her apartment to her car. She's showing me her apartment, how clean it was, and there's a dimness to the kitchen, but the counters are so clean, but you can still, there's no food, there's everything spotless, but you can still smell an essence of what it was that she had cooked. She says my dishes were flavorful in their aroma, and she carried it with her in her sense of smells memory, like perfume on the way to her car. She was feeling very good. She said my life had begun. I feel like, I don't know why, guys, I feel like this recording is going to stop any minute, so if I keep looking at my clock, it's please don't be surprised if this is 2 parts. It's 13 minutes, and she's got 17 minutes to go, but I think we're really close to done. Are we not? She says I was 5'7". She's giving me her identity for the helping to identify her, or to identify him. My ex-husband placed me below the ground, like below the deepest depths that you would dig a grave and place someone, showing respects and doing the proper burial. Below that, like he was in his mind sending me to hell, putting me in the mine shaft. I was wrapped in weave. He weaved the wrap around me for her not catching on anything and sliding. She's showing me like a butterfly or a moth cocoon, the way that it's shaped, like a capsule. She said like a capsule, but shot like a balloon. And she's showing me like a snapping of a balloon with the end open. That she did. She bulleted. She darted down there. Hot. She's saying her remains remain due to the cocooning of her body, where many laid rest there. have are not still there due to the animals, and the open ability for their bones to be scattered by animals. She's still there. She says, unbeknownst to him, I am a butterfly, and that cocoon is only empty. She's saying her spirit's well. It's green. It's a green blanket. Her first layer is a green blanket, and I'm seeing like the color of avocado, like back in the 80s, 80s. Like our grandma's electric blankets were that color of green, and that same texture without the wire in it. She's wrapped in that first. Upon that, she's wrapped in something, and she's saying velveteen, but it's kind of got a shiny to the fabric, almost like a. So let's go back to the 70s, like a satin bed comforter or something that you put on a waterbed, something like that. She says it is satin for the sliding. I am all. Sorry. I knew something was coming. I don't know, somebody's. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta pause this. Sorry, guys. That was. Boy, you get some weirdos calling you on Messenger. It's like, unless I contact you, and you don't have a cell phone with a phone number, don't try to do that on Messenger. Anyways, no big deal. She's saying that I remain, her remains remain, she's saying. She is whole. She's completely whole. For as to be any complete specimen placed on an autopsy table, is what she's saying. Basically, she's saying because she's so whole, her ID might as well be between her teeth. What isn't whole is the chest within my ex-husband. Nor is his mind without many holes in it. She's showing me his crazy. And the soullessness behind the crazy at the same time. She spent the better of 8 or 9, babe. She's saying I said 8, but I hear 9. It's like, that's where I'm bad. Let's do fingers. Andrea, 2 hands. Raise 2. Okay. Wait. 2 hands. Raise 2. How many do you have? Okay. 7. She says, Andrea, we were together 8 years. She's saying the 7 is an afterthought. So I'm wrong on the 7. For whatever reason. She says, Andrea, of the 2, she knew him. So they were married for 7 years. No, for 8 years. And before marriage, they were together too. She says, Andrea, we will rewind, recourse. Now she's saying we will roll on. Because, yeah, I'm really bad with numbers. She says, I'll slip it in. It's not funny, but she's saying like she really resents him. She hated him with such a, because she saw so clear to him, through him, what a, she's saying SOB he was. for all his sheltering his mind's crazy upon her. Like, she had to experience it less in the mildness in which he did. She experienced the results. She experienced the mental abuse and the physical abuse and the psychological trauma of it. She said, I grew in when I knew that his mind was not right. As soon as she realized she's not dealing with a normal thinking person, she says, that's when I grew and I knew I needed to get away. There's no value in intricate things being broken. She's kind of showing me like a wet cell phone, even though it powers on, it's no good. She saw that in him, and she also saw her death in him. She said, I did see my death in that man's eyes more than too many times. The last tear my eye cried was the day that I knew I needed to get away if I was to survive. And I regretted not a day of it. She really enjoyed her kitchen and her little apartment, but the peace that she found in the creating of things without it being destroyed. She said, I made noise. I made noise of laughter in my head and from my voice, with no sharp anything coming at me for it. She's showing me her kitchen and the feeling in it of freedom to move about and feel safe. But she's showing me that as if it's in a garden of God's light and love, and she's saying angelic hue, but she's showing me a clear broth that just has that umami taste. She's awesome. My fearing for my finding had resided for those caring, for their knowing of finding of me, for the ones that care enough to create and keep these posters alive for her. She cares not for her freedom, but for theirs. Freedom of knowing that she is there. This is one mine shaft disposal of a body that remains. She's adamant about that. I guess it's you're as good as gone when you go down a mine shaft, because the animals will take you, and by the time anybody even figures out which mine shaft you're thrown down. She says, my shadow will glow. In other words, her searchers for the mine shaft, they'll know. For this mine shaft has more light in it from the top of, or the beginning of it. It shines more light than any other mine shaft could or would or does. She says that the light does shine upon me. If you're looking in the daylight or a flashlight, she's visible. She's before the wind. So if there's some sort of like a water slide or well, the spiral slide, she is just before that turn. She is she's visible. She's showing me this tunnel with so much light around it. She's confident she'll be found for the guiding of the light. A lot of sunlight goes into that tunnel. I don't think it's about a flashlight. Are you... This has got to be somebody that knows where all these shafts are, because that's the tricky part, right? Everything's overgrown now. She says mine is beneath the light. Like, you can't miss it. She says my finding will be guided by the light and found in the light. She's saying, and she's directing this at him for all the eyes to see. Boy, I've never heard vengeance from beyond the grave, and she's not vengeful, but I feel a resentment, like very much a distaste for this person and his soullessness and his sickness. She said, I went straight for my mark, and that's where I missed it. She's saying, for those looking for her, hear her hark, like hark the herald angels sing. Hear her hark. I don't know what that means, but she does. Hear her. She knows your hearts, and she's within your hearts. And she's also saying, she's saying she already knows she is going to be found and placed upon an autopsy table, complete. She's showing me that this is what happens. She says we are worse for wear when it comes to where I'm from. She says there are great gardens and falls. Great falls. Like falls that have like water vapor or steam rising up. Like there's so much water going down and coming up. Like Niagara Falls. She says the falls, are there 3? She's showing me 3 falls. She says I am at the nearest one. Like on the nearest fall. Depending on what side you are and if you're above or below. She says I'm at the nearest fall. Like on the edge of the nearest fall. Like it's a short, wider one or something. I'm not sure. There are great falls. Mine was not the greatest of all, she's saying. And for the lighting upon on the hole where I was not destined to fall. In other words, where she is and will be brought back up. It's up above. It's higher up the hill than, because I don't know, a shaft would be like inside a mountain, right? She's high up there. She's on the highest, because for the sunlight to come in. I think you're beautiful. And I can taste her tasting the cilantro through her smell. That was her recipe of the week, was the Mexican or Hispanic flavors cooking. She's glad she left her permanent neat. She says she she enjoyed being very neat because he enjoyed making havoc, chaos of nothing being allowed to be neat. She said, if you stand in my kitchen, Andrea, you can see the dimming. Because I can see the shadowed kitchen through like just one like small window. But I can smell it and the clean of it. She says, if you stand in there, you will hear me singing for my freedom from him. And all that he tried to beat me with. She's confident that he didn't beat her on this. She sees her capsule coming up as fast as it went down. And she sees him eating slop for the rest of his days. I wish I could get it. Okay, so she's by Niagara Falls. She's the 32-year-old woman, divorcee, blonde, that went missing on her way to her car, and it was a red car. It was a small, older car, red car. Not tiny like mine. I drive a Geo Tracker. It's tiny, but it's not a full-size sedan. And she's, I'm kind of sensing a maroon red, you know. Thank you. I hope this, maybe one of the viewers can find who this is. I don't, but and when I have time, if I have time, of course. Thank you for joining me. She says, I will let you recess. Thank you. Bye guys. See you next time.